Ashwin will take over now.
Hello everyone, this is Ashwin Ganesan, and today I will be giving an introduction on Azure Monitoring and Azure Monitoring and Services. So let us start. So Azure Monitor is a PaaS service that is available within Microsoft Azure Cloud. So Azure Monitor maximizes the availability and performance of your application and services as well as virtual machines and other resources. So it will give you a comprehensive solution for collecting, analyzing, and acting on telemetry from your cloud and on-premises environments. So it helps you to understand how your applications are performed and like how proactively identifies issues affecting them and the resources that they are dependent on. So and then the next one is like today we'll be seeing application insights as well. So application insights are used to monitor web applications, both on-prem as well as cloud. And in that, like we'll be seeing which applications are supported and like how we can set up application insights. And also we'll be seeing how to set up Azure monitoring for virtual machines as well. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this is brief introduction about Azure Monitor. So Azure Monitor detect and diagnose issues across application and dependencies with application insights, and then it correlate infrastructure issues with Azure Monitor for virtual machines and Azure Monitor for containers. You can also monitor databases, storage accounts, all within Azure resources. And then you can drill into the monitoring data using log analytics. So if you want to do a deep analysis, diagnostics or troubleshooting, you can always use log analytics and run queries, and you can get that information. And also it supports alerts and automated actions. Like if there is any events, critical event or any performance issues, you can set up alerts that will proactively inform you uh, before that event that occurs. And then next one is like you can create visualization in Azure. So that is available within the Azure itself. Like you can create dashboards of the monitoring metrics, like whatever data that you're monitoring, you can visualize it using in dashboards itself, or you can visualize it in Power BI, or any other visualization tools. So this one is the Azure Monitor architecture. So here you can see what are the things on the left side. You can see what are the things that you can monitor using Azure Monitor. Like you can monitor application, you can monitor operating system at the server level, and then you can monitor Azure resources. You can monitor Azure subscriptions also. You can monitor the Azure tenant itself. So like in Azure subscriptions, like whatever activities that's going on, uh, you can monitor it. If there is any update or anyone accessing your subscription without your knowledge, so those things you can monitor. And after monitoring, like the other features that comes along with that is the insights. Like you can dive into deep into the monitoring. Like you can analyze all the metrics and you can analyze all the logs, and you can get more in-depth details from that. And then you can visualize it, as I said before, like you can visualize it using Azure dashboards itself, or you can visualize it using Power BI. You can visualize it using Workbooks and all those things. And then the next one is analysis. So there is metric analytics and log analytics. So metric analytics is whenever you create a metric. Metrics are like those are a component that available in Azure that you can create charts and you can visualize correlating trends and can investigate spikes and dips in the metrics. I will show you those things in the demo. And then next one is respond. Like you can create alerts, as I told before. Like you can create email alerts, you can create SMS alerts, you can create even there is an Azure application, monitoring application. You can install it, and from there also you can get notifications. And then the next one is integration. Integration is you can integrate logic apps that are available in Azure. And you can also integrate APIs. Like you can integrate and you can export all this data by using an API. And maybe you can use a third-party tool to visualize and analyze the data, the monitoring data. And then, so next one is about Azure Application Insights. So Azure Application Insights is an extensible application performance management service. It's for web developers and they can use it for on multiple platforms. So you can use it to monitor your live web application. It will automatically detect performance anomalies. It includes powerful analytics tools like log analytics, and it's help you diagnose issues to understand what users actually do with their app. It's designed to help you continuously improve your performance and the usability. It works for apps on wide variety of platforms, including .NET, Node.js, and Java. And then also the application hosted on premises, and then hybrid cloud or any public clouds. It integrates with your DevOps process and has connection points to a variety of development tools. It can monitor and analyze telemetry from mobile apps by integrating with a Visual Studio App Center. Application Insight is not supported for basic tier service plan. It is supported only for standard and premium service plans. Okay, so let's talk about the pricing of Azure Monitor. So Azure Monitor is priced based on the data that is stored inside it, like whatever data that is being monitored. Uh, so it's been priced at that level, like whatever data that it's ingesting, it's priced at $2.76 per GP. And then, so this one is in the pay as you go level. Again, there are CSP rates and there are enterprise agreement rates. Those are different, but we'll just see only the pay as you go subscription rates. So in that we saw that the data ingestion is $2.76 per GP, and so whatever data that is being ingested, it will be retained in the within the Azure data center itself. So that data retention period is like 31 days. Within 31 days, it's free, whatever data that you have. But if it goes anything beyond that, it will be charged around 12 cents per GB per month. And then for Azure monitoring, the metrics that you create, so there are like custom metrics and standard metrics. Standard metrics are which that are available within the Azure itself. Custom metrics are like you need to you can run some queries and create your own metrics. So the standard metrics is free by default, but the custom metrics are like it's there are some charges around it that you can refer it in Azure pricing website. You can just search for Azure monitoring pricing, and you can get a detailed pricing list from there. And then for creating alerts, by default, like for each metric alert that you create, there is a 10 cents per metric time series monitored per month. And then for the logs that are stored inside the Azure for log analytics, that one is charged around the same, like $2.76 per month. Sorry, $2.76 per GB per month. So those are the pricing of the Azure monitoring. So let's go to the next slide. So this one is the application insights, like how it works basically. Application insights works at the like for a web application at the user level, and at the backend level, it works at the backend level. Also, if there is any dependencies, it will monitor that also. So like whatever it can also monitor availability, and it will monitor uh, the performance of the web application. So all these things it will monitor, and for by monitoring in the sense like you can create alerts, you can keep a threshold, and if the monitoring goes beyond the threshold, you will get an alert, and then you can visualize whatever data that you monitor in Power BI, and you can customize the monitoring in using Visual Studio, like whatever. For example, if you are running an on-premise application and you want to monitor it, you can use Visual Studio, and using Visual Studio you can integrate the application insights with your code, and you can monitor those things. And then you can also use REST API to get the data for visualization and for analysis. So like basically you can export all the data within the application insights, basically the log data and everything, and you can visualize it. And what are the things that application insights monitor? So application insights is aimed at the development team to help you understand how the app is performing and how it's being used. It monitors request rates, response times, and failure rates, like find out which web pages are most popular at what times of the day and where your users are. See which pages performs best. If your response times and failures rates go high, uh, then you will get like you can monitor that also. And then you can monitor dependency rates, response time, and failure rates. Find out whether the external services are slowing you down. You can monitor all those things. And then next one is exceptions. Exceptions are problems that rises during execution of the program, and you can analyze its aggregated statistics or pick specific instances and drill into the stack trace and related requests. Like both server and browser exceptions are reported. Next one is page views and load performance. So these are reported by your users' browsers. And then Ajax calls. So these are like from web pages, the traits, the response times, and failure rates, all those things you can monitor. And then you can monitor user and session counts, like how many users are accessing the web app and how many sessions are created. Those things you can monitor. And then you can monitor performance counters from your Windows or Linux server machines, such as CPU, memory, and network usage. And then you can monitor host diagnostics from Docker or Azure, like wherever your application has been hosted. And then you can diagnose, like you can diagnose the trace logs, the logs which are created, so that you can correlate trace events with requests. And then custom events and metrics. So these are like that. These are events and metrics that you write yourself in the client or server code to track business events such as items sold or games won. Like those are the things that you can put it in your website and you can track all those things. So the next one is investigating telemetry. So the telemetry data that are available within the application insights. So those, like we can see like how it's been analyzed and how it's been monitored. So the first one we can see about is smart detection in application insights. So while explaining this, I will just show you where it is in the Azure portal. Just give me a few minutes. I'm opening up the Azure portal. So I think you can see my screen in the Azure portal. So here, let's go to the, okay, first I will explain the Azure Monitor. So this is the Azure Monitor service that is available in Azure. Like you can, for this, in order to access it, you need a subscription. You need to create a pay-as-you-go subscription. By default, for testing, if you create a pay-as-you-go subscription, you will get a $200 credit. You can use it for like 1 year, but once it gets over, you have to like it will be charged basically. So whatever services that you use beyond that credit, like it will be charged for you. So say, and then yeah, so you can see the monitoring service in the tools on the left hand side. Once you click it, it'll open and you can see the overview page. So here it explains like what are the services that Azure Monitor offers. It can monitor and visualize metrics. You can run uh, queries on the logs and you can analyze it, and you can set up alerts and actions. All those things you can see in the overview page. So here you can search logs and you can explore the metrics. So this is the metric, Azure metric, and then you can create alert also. I will go through all these things one by one. So first, let us start creating a metric. So here you can go to the explore metric, and here you can see how you can create a metric. So here you can select a scope. So scope is basically the subscription where you are adding this metric. So here I'm choosing my own subscription. So this is that. Once I select it, it will show you what are the resource group that are available inside your subscription. So these are the ones which I created. So once you select the scope, you can select the resource type which you want to add metric to. For now, I'm selecting only virtual machines. You can also select SQL database, key vaults. So key vaults is where you will store all the secrets. For example, if you're encrypting a virtual machine, you require a key vault secret, and you can store it in the key vaults, and you can monitor the metrics for that also. So now I'm selecting the virtual machines. Once I select the virtual machine, you can see the resource, like where the virtual machine is available in the resource group. So this is the one. You have to select that particular virtual machine, and you can also select the location. Like right now I hosted it in central US. Like if you want to filter, you can select the location based filter. So once you select it, click apply. So you have selected the resource. Now next thing is you have to select the metric. So these are the metrics. Metrics are like whatever CPU usage that's been reported, or whatever disk write operations or read operations that are executed. And then for example, if the virtual machine is down, the virtual machine shut down or it's been up, you can create an alert for that. And for like performance analysis, like for analyzing the CPU usage, how much percentage of CPU has been consumed, all those things you can create a metric for. So you can, once you select it, you can select the count, like the aggregation part. Maybe it can be average or minimum, maximum, whatever you can select it. Once you select it, it will show up basically whatever metric. So see, you can see here like there was a spike around till 10 a.m. So like the percentage CPU, like how it's been used during the time. And the next one is uh, search logs. So in order to create search logs, like you have to create a log analytics workspace. So that also you have to create inside your subscription itself. Once you click the subscription and select apply, so it'll load up the logs. So here where you can run the query basically. So these are the default queries that you can run. You can select and you can run it. So I selected last, like the time ranges last 24 hours. So since like it's the virtual machine was started recently, so the logs has not accumulated that much. But basically, like if you run the machine for a longer time, you will get the logs and everything as soon as possible, like within a couple of hours, and then you can run a query in that. Okay, let's go to the alerts monitor. So here where you can create the alerts. So I will explain how you can create the rules. So yeah, you have to select the subscription. Once you select the subscription and select this resource also you can select, and once you select that, you can also filter the resource type whichever you want. So right now I just selected all resource type. You can also search and you can select, so it'll like filter accordingly. So once you select it, you can also filter by location. So done that, so the resource has been added, it will show up here. Next one is the condition. You can add a condition. So these are the conditions, the percentage CPU, and then activity, like you can also add monitoring service for activity log at administrator level. So this is the one which I'm, for this one I'm going to create an alert. So basically whenever the virtual machine is stopped or whenever a virtual machine is started, you will get an alert. So right now the virtual machine is running. Let's put a deallocate virtual machine condition. So once I select that condition, um, here you can select the time, like the minimum is over last 6 hours, the maximum is over the last week. So right now I selected last 6 hours, and here it will show you the chart, like for last 6 hours what is the activity, and then here it will show the event level. Like you can select whatever event level you want. If you think it's a critical one, if it's a production virtual machine, then you can put it as a critical, or it's a warning message, then you can put it as a warning level. If it's an informational, you can select that. So right now I'm putting this as a critical one. Once you select it, you can select the status. um, so this, like whenever a virtual machine is stopped, first it'll start the process. Once it's succeeded, it will show as succeeded. Suppose if the virtual machine starting itself is failed, that also, that status also you can select here. Right now I'm just selecting all status, and the event initiated by, you can keep it blank basically. um, so like the event is initiated by yourself, so I'm just keeping it blank. But if you want to focus on a particular user, you can select that user and you can select, uh, basically you can select that condition, and then once you're done with it, you can select done, and then you have to create the action group. So action groups are like a, basically a group where you can add the user. For example, like you can add the email ID or the phone number where you want to get the alert. So let me create this test action group. You can think that action group is already exists. So let's put Cloud9 test. And just put C9. Like you can give a short name and you have to select the subscription, and then the resource group where the action group is stored basically. You can give a unique name for it as well. So this one is regarding the virtual mission. So let's put virtual mission action group, and then you can select the action type. So here you can see what are the ways that you can get the alerts. So you can also use Azure functions, you can use logic apps, you can use Webbooks in order to get notified. So right now I'm selecting email and push notification. So once you select it, here you can see the email option, the SMS option, and then the Azure app push notification option. and also you can get a voice option as well. So right, I'm selecting email option, and here you can give the email whichever you want. Once you select it, um, yeah, all you have to do is click OK. So I already created a action group, so I just don't want to create this. So let me add the existing action group. So this is the action group which I created, so I'm gonna add it and select. So once I add the action group, I'll be adding the alert rule name. So this one is like the condition which I added is whenever the virtual machine is deallocated, I should get an alert. So you can put the alert rule name as like uh, so the VM name is C9 test. So you can put C9 test VM is shut down, and then you can describe the alerts, why it's been created. So whenever C9 test VM is down, you will get this alert. And also you can save these alerts to a resource group. Right now I'm saving it in application insights resource group. So you have to select this enable rule upon creation option. So it will take 5 minutes for the alerts to kick in. So let's create that alert rule. So the alert rule is being created, but still it will take 5 minutes to get into effect. So in the meanwhile, we'll just go through what are the other services that are offered within the monitor itself. So we saw logs. So just testing not a log. Since it's been created recently, so it will take some time for the logs to generate. So we'll do that later. So these are service health. So service health is basically like whenever there is a downtime within the Azure data center, like if there is a service issue for example, a particular location or anything like where your resources are hosted, if there is a service issue, it will show up here. And if there is a planned maintenance within the Azure data center also, it will show up here in the planned maintenance. And then health advisories are like advisory recommendations that are provided by Azure itself. For example, if you're the resources which you are using, if you want to cut down some cost in it, that will come as a advisory recommendation. And for health advisories, for example, if there is a heavy traffic that's going on in your virtual machine or in your web application, those things you can see it over here. And then security advisories are security recommendations basically. So like Azure itself has a security tool called a security center. So it will analyze all your resources and it will give you a recommendation based on it. So once you see the logs and then the service health and then workbooks, uh, workbooks are basically like documentation used for documentation purposes. Like you can inside the workbooks you can create reports and you can store it within Azure itself, and then you can refer any documentation that you want to do, like if you want to store any thing regarding web application or anything, you can do it here. So for example, virtual machine performance, you can create a document here itself. You can select the subscription, workspaces and everything, so it'll get stored in it. And then so these are the application insights which I created for the web application. So let's check about that. And before that, uh, so these are like troubleshooting features that are available. Like you can estimate the cost, and then you can create support requests for any monitoring issues or anything, you can select this option. And diagnostic settings are basically like whatever like resources, dependent resources that are within the virtual machine. So we can run or like check diagnostic settings for those things. Like you can even add application insights to those resources basically. So all things we can do do it from here. And then these are the advisory recommendations which I told you before. Okay, so let's go to the application insights. So let me start with the in investigate telemetry slide. So this is an application insight which I created. So for like whenever you are enabling the application insight for a web application, like by default, whenever you create a web application, you can enable the application insight. But if you didn't enable it that time, and if you want to enable it later, you can enable it by going to that app service. And so this is the web application which I created within Azure. So here you can go to the application insights, and from here you can enable it. But whenever you enable it, so it will restart the web application itself, because it has to install the agent, the monitoring agent into that web application and restart it. So it will basically it will take some time. So it's better advised that you do it in maintenance, like you have a separate maintenance window for it, and then it's recommended to do it during that time. So once you enable it, and once the application insights has been, the monitoring agent has been installed in it, and it will show up all the features that are available in it. So let's go to that application insight. You can also search from here. So this is the one which I created. So I created a C9 test web application, Azure Web App. It's a PaaS service. And then I enabled the application insights for it. So when I enable it, you can see uh, the overview tab where you can see the failed requests, server response time, availability, and then server requests that's been happening. So till now there is no failed request, so it's showing 0. And here you can see the server response time, like at the particular time the response time has gone up. And then you can see the server requests that were happening. And so this is the availability of the server in the web application. You can also pin it to your main dashboard if you want. Like this pin, you can just select pin and you can select pin it. And then you can here can select the timeline. Can up to like 6 hours or 12 hours, whichever time you want, you can select it. And here you can see the details of the the application insights. So which subscription it's been hosted, and then the connection string and all those things. You can see it from here. And then activity log. So whatever activity that is being going on in the application insights, it will come up here. So here you can see smart detection feature has been enabled, and the insights components is being updated. All those activity logs you can see here. And you can also select the time span for it, like you can select last 6 hours or last month, whichever you want, you can select it. And you can select the event severity and the resource group and the resource, all those things you can select it from here. And then this is access control. So basically you can give access to this application insights to a user. You can just click add, and you can add a role assignment, and you can select the role, whichever role you want to give to the application insight. So owner is the main role, like they can do whatever changes they want into that application insight. And contributor role is basically like they have some certain restrictions. For example, if they want to move this application insight to another resource group, they cannot do it at a contributor level or reader level, but they can do it at an owner level. So those are the things, those are the restrictions that are there within the contributor and the reader as well. And there were other different roles also. So you can select it and you can assign whichever user you want. Once you've done that, you can save it, and a particular role will be assigned to that user for this particular application insight. And then you can add tags to it if you want. You can put it like a production application insight or a testing application insight. You can add it as a tag over here, and then you can diagnose and solve problems using this particular feature. So if you have any issues with the application insights itself, you can refer this troubleshooting feature, like where you can click and you can follow the recommended steps. So it will pop up here, or you can also follow the documentation links that are available here. And the next one is application map. So application maps are like, it helps you to spot performance bottlenecks or failure hotspots across all components of your distributed application. So here you can see, so this is my web application, and you can see like how many calls has been done in it, and then the availability of that. So this is basically a availability test which I created. So it's showing 100% availability. So those things, like you can see it monitor from application maps itself. And then like each node on the map represents an application component or its dependencies. And as health KPI and alert status, all those things, you can see it from there. You can click through and from any component to get more detailed diagnostics. So once you click, like you can create the more detailed investigation. So here you can see the operations and the dependencies. So this one is the performance analysis. So how many request counts are there, and at what time it happened, all those things you can analyze from here. And if you want to drill into more, you can get profiler status, traces, and samples. So we'll go that one by one. So these you can also like select Azure diagnostics such as SQL database advisor recommendations, or all those things, like you can see it from here also in the application maps. Oh, sorry. So next one is smart detection. So smart detection automatically warns you of potential performance problems and failures that are failure anomalies in your web application. So if there is a high performance issue, or like which is going to happen, or which are being predicted proactively, so those things you can see it here in the smart detection. Since there are no so you can click here and you can view for the last 7 days, since this web application was created few days before, like 2 days before. It's not showing up here, but basically like you have to wait for some days in order to see the smart detection anomalies. So, and it also operates your application and through telemetry. You can access the detections issues by smart detection, both from the emails you receive and from the smart detection blade. Sometimes like you can set up email alerts also, so that proactively you will get an alert of if there is any performance issue or any failure that is going to happen. You can get it as an email in your mobile. And this is the next one is live metrics. So live metrics stream is basically it's a live monitoring. So like it can probe the beating out of your live production web application. You can select and filter metrics and performance counters to watch in real time without any disturbances to your service. Inspect stack traces from sampled file requests and exceptions. You can validate a fix while it is released by watching performance and failure counts. Whenever your web application goes live, you can monitor all those aspects from here itself, like whatever things that you want to monitor. You can do a live monitoring by checking this. And then next one is so this is just a search option, like if there is any dependencies, you want to check the dependencies in the web application, you can search it from here. And then next one is the availability ping test. So basically, like you can check the availability of your web application from here. So this is a ping test which I created. I will explain how to create the ping test. So here you have to click add test and then give a name for it. Just give ping test. And you have to select either you can do URL ping test. So this ping test will happen only for that URL. On multi-step web test is if there are multiple web pages in your website. So you can select this option. Right now I'm just selecting URL ping test, and you have to add the URL here. Um, so like you can just get the application URL and you can put it over here. And then once you do that, and then you can pass dependent requests. So this is like the same way, like if there is any dependence inside the website, you can select this option. So it will parse, like it will do ping test for those dependencies also. So this another option is like you can enable retrace for availability test failure. For basically this particular feature will run a ping test to that URL. If it fails, again it will retry the ping test. So that's the option, and you can select the test frequency also. Once you select it, and once you select the criteria and the test location and you enable the alerts, you have to click create. Once you create it, so here you can, since I already created that, so it will show up here. Like it will do the ping test from different locations. By default, it does from Central US, East US, North Central, South Central, and West US. So here you can see it shows 100% availability and the duration of the ping test. So this would be very helpful in order to check your website availability. And then next one is failures. So if there is any failure within your web application, it will show up here. And you can drill down further, like where is that failure is happening. And the next one is the performance. So performance analysis, like you can check the website performance basically, which I explained before. So let's jump into the next one. So there is another feature called performance sampler. Let me explain that. So this performance sampler is like part of the profiler. So in order to access it, you have to go to this performance tab, and then you have to click configure profiler. Once you click configure profiler, you can see it here, and you have to select any of this sampling process. So it will connect to the host and it will get data. It will take some time. So I already opened one, so I will show that. So once you open it here, you can see the events that were happening. So it will basically trace all the events and it will show here, and it will also show the timeline and how many milliseconds it took for it to run. So basically this profiler, like it collects profile traces to see where the time is spent in the application code. You can run this profiler on ASP.NET Core apps that are running on Azure App Service, like using basic service tier or higher. And you can enable profiler on Linux a bit. If you want to enable, you can also enable it on Linux based web application. And to open it, like you have to go to this performance tab and you have to click configure profiler, and you can get the samples. You can also check from here in profiler traces directly. You can check from here also. It will directly open, it will show you. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So there are other features also available within the application insights. It's called usage analysis. So it helps you gain powerful insights into how people use your app every time you update your app, uh, like how the users are accessing it. And it's like a metadata that you can get from based on the users perspective, so that you can check under app insights. So you have to go to users. Here you can check that. So here you can see how many users, like only one user is access that website. So it's using only one user, and it will show you at what time it's been accessed. So this is a very cool feature that is available within the application inside. And you also check like who used it, all those things you can check from here. You can click view more insights and you can get a detailed description of it. And the next one is metrics. Metrics I already explained, so it's similar to the Azure monitoring metrics which I told you before. And then next one is dashboards. You can always create dashboards like whatever metric that you create here, you can pin it to as a dashboard. You have that option over here, so that like you can have everything in one single dashboard basically. And then uh, okay, the next part is I will explain about Visual Studio, like how you can set up application insight for an existing web application, like which is not created in Azure itself. Just give me a few minutes. I will open my Visual Studio. So before that, let's check like what are the applications that are supported. I think you guys can see my screen. So these are the supported languages for the application insights. So C Sharp, VB.NET, Java, JavaScript, Node.js are supported languages. And then what are the supported platforms and frameworks? So uh, you can it also supports the virtual machines that are created in Azure, like the web applications that are hosted in the virtual machine. And then Azure App Service, which you already know. But the thing is, no, it's not supported for Linux-based web apps. It's supported only for Windows-based web apps. And then ASP.NET applications for apps, like for apps that are already live also, like you can use the application insights to monitor it. And Azure Cloud Services, both the web and the worker roles, all those things you can monitor. And also you can uh, use Azure functions, like the web application which has been customized using Azure functions, that also you can monitor. And then so this one is the software development kits, like you can instrument these application insights using Android app or iOS or Java or like universal Windows app, ASP.NET. You can all use all this SDKs. But the thing is, like, it's not supported for WordPress sites based on Linux OS platform. So the only thing is, like, you can use like still you can do availability test, because all you have to do is just give the URL name that you can do, but the other features are not available in that. So we have seen the demo, we have seen the availability test, live metrics team, and how to create the Azure Monitor. So I think let's go back. So I will just deallocate the virtual machine. Remember, we created a monitoring alert. So whenever the virtual machine is shut down, we'll get an alert. So I'm just gonna test that out. So let's start the machine. so it will take some time. Meanwhile, I will explain about the Visual Studio. So I think you guys can see my Visual Studio. So here, whenever you have a you created a web application, you can see that project over here. So when you go to that project, basically that website which you created, and you have to select the add option over here, and here you can see the application insights telemetry. So this is a test site which I created, and once you add the application insights, it will show you what you can do with the application insights, like what have been monitored. You have to click get started, and for that you definitely need an account. Basically you need a Microsoft account, and then you need to have the subscription. uh, Either you can have this option to store the metric data, whatever data it's been analyzed, you can store it in the Azure itself, or if you don't want to do it, you can select this option. So this will just add whatever data, it will just stored within the Azure Visual Studio itself. Like basically it will be stored in your local machine. So once it's been added, I will open the other projects which I created before. So I already installed the application insights for this particular Allo Cloud website. Let me show you that. So once you add that application insights using Visual Studio, it will automatically be created here in the Azure. So it will be in application insights. So this is the website which I created in the Visual Studio, and I added the application insights to it. So you will get all the features here. You can get the application map. So it will take some time to load, basically. But you can check other options as well. You can do availability test to that website. You can check failures. You can check performance. See the overall performance that's been happening inside that website. You can get at each directory level. So all these things you can monitor from here. So all you have to do is, once you add that, you can check, you can configure application insights. Also you can choose telemetry resource. Like you can select this particular telemetry data and you can analyze it, basically. So these are the things that you can do with Azure Monitor. So let's go to the summary. So today we saw like how the Azure monitors like work, how to set up the monitoring alerts, and how to set up using application insights, and then like what are the metrics that are being analyzed and monitored, and like we were seeing about live website monitoring, like user monitoring, and the failure monitoring, and then profiler, um, like the codes are being monitored, like how long it takes for the code to run. All those things can be monitored. So those things we saw, and like uh, you can also monitor at the user level, UI basis. So that also we saw that, like the dependencies which we monitor, which we can monitor, those things we saw. So these are the overall summary. And then so before going to the question session, let's go back to the virtual machine and just stop it. Because I want to check the monitoring alert which we created. So these are the alerts which were created before. So I created this alert like whenever a resource is created. So whenever a resource is being created by some user, I will get an alert basically. So that's how I added the condition, and this is how you will get that alert. And you also get the same details in an email version. So let's go back to the slides. So these are the overall features and services that are available within Azure Monitor. So does anyone have any questions? So if anyone have any questions, like you can send it to, you can contact our Cloud9 Infosystems website. So there you can post your questions. Uh, so I think we can end this session. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, Ashwin.
Yeah.
I request all the attendees to share your email address in the chat window so that we can share further communications about our upcoming webinars. All our webinars, decks, and recordings are available on our Cloud9 website under the respective event information. So please visit our site cloud9infosystems.com. And now coming to our Azure assessments. So Azure assessment is a Microsoft and Cloud9 joint investment. There is a consulting service available for your organization, and depending on your organization, it may be free. Or you may use these consulting hours to get a roadmap to one of these services like Azure Migration, SQL Upgrade, Power BI, and Analytics. So if you are interested, please email us at c9sales@cloud9infosystems.com or call us at 855-225-6839. And our upcoming webinar will be next month, and communication will be sent out soon. So thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward seeing you in our next sessions. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.